Come, let us explore the 23rd lesson, Patrul's first yoga, the tantric contemplation of the 5 aggregates. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate like a Jedi. We're going to discuss things you probably have not heard before. And although each of these lessons is standalone, give yourself permission to have healthy curiosity. And when curiosity strikes, type your question in the chat window. Of course, you don't have to wait for a question to come to you. You can take a moment right now to introduce yourself and perhaps tell me what you feel your greatest needs are this evening. When curiosity strikes, if you are profoundly extroverted, you can use the link in the description area below the video to join me on the Instagram simulcast for the sole purpose of pushing the request button so we can have some sort of an Instagram version of FaceTime so you can ask your question face to face and in real time. Now, it only works if I notice you do that. If I don't notice it, my button in my end goes away. And so if you've been hanging out there 30 seconds and you don't see me responding, then leave the Instagram live stream and then re-enter. Or content yourself with merely typing your questions in the chat bar. I shall begin by opening up tonight's practice text. And as you can tell, it is merely a Word document. However, the version available for free download from the download page, whose link can be found in the description area below the video, is a PDF. And I can't stress this enough. By the way, these PDFs are formatted to be read upon a smartphone held horizontally. But if this is going to be meaningful to you, because these are large PDFs, difficult to navigate, so download the free Kindle app. And when you import the PDF, the app will ask you, should this be reformatted as a Kindle app doc or as a PDF document? Always choose PDF document. Otherwise, it'll turn into literary oatmeal. So, and the nice thing is, using that free Kindle app, you'll be able to navigate and bookmark to your heart's content. The Buddha Joy Meditation School does not make any money off of you doing this. I simply do not wish you to have a nervous breakdown trying to use these practice tools that I have labored so intensely to create for you. This page infers that the recommended reading for tonight's lesson is the 37th through 42nd passages of Tantra's Treasure of Raktatari, which is, of course, available for free download using the link below. Using the link to the downloads page that can be found below. Let's scurry ahead to tonight's practice. We have completed playing with the 6 yogas of Naropa. It is my desire that tonight and during the 3 nights that follow, we will play with 4 yoga, what I like to call the 4 yogas of Patrul, and then follow that with the 4 yogas of Jigme. Now, I hope you will enjoy them. If you don't, I'm sure you will let me know about it in the comment area below. Now, if you're going to call me names in the comment area, please use imagination. And to quote Spock in the Star Trek reboot, I expect fresh insults daily. No leftovers, if you please. Okay, so this practice is inspired by the meditation manual written by Patrul, Jean Patrul Rinpoche Jigme Choki Wangpo, who was a great saint in, oh gosh, it's either the 1800s or the 1700s. I get that confused. Sorry. But more than 100 years ago, between 100 and 200 years ago, great saint. I really think of him. His writings have really been integral to my path, and I hope you enjoy this as well. We're going to begin with a bit of a spiritual warm-up, if you please. We're going to begin by playing with Tantra's 4 bases of mindfulness. Now, if this is your first time turning into the wild and wacky world of Lama Jigme, you might ask, what the hell is a base of mindfulness? Is it like a moon base, like in 2001 A Space Odyssey, or in Space 1999? And for that, here's a bit of history, Scarecrow. A tale is told of a northeast Indian prince of the Shakya clan named Shakyamuni, or Siddhartha, who in his late 20s, early 30s, escaped the palace, which had become very much a silk-lined prison, and became the monk Gautama. He studied under not one but 2 meditation masters, learning the systems of concentration, mental training. Both of his teachers felt that he mastered their systems so much that he became their equal, and they each asked him to lead their community of yogis with them. However, the monk Gautama was disappointed with his results, and so he continued with his search. For an additional 5 years, he practiced in the forest, homeless and bedraggled, practicing radical austerities with 5 other ascetics, until at the point of death he realized that the asceticism of the forest was just as foolish as the debauchery of the palace. So he chose the middle way between all extremes. There's strong evidence to suggest he felt the same way about concentration, that it was far too ascetic. And so he chose the opposite of concentration. Where concentration is active, he chose mindfulness, which is passive. Where concentration is compressing, mindfulness is allowing and relaxing and vulnerable. And in his state of perceptual vulnerability, he who would be eventually nicknamed the Buddha, the Enlightened One, was inundated with sensory information, with sensations and flavors and sights and sounds and scents and emotions and intentions and thoughts and memories and imaginings. And so he found it helpful to organize experience under 4 headings. From the perspective of Sutra, those 4 categories could be described as body and feelings and mind and phenomena or circumstances. From the tantric perspective, those 4 bases of mindfulness, and if you know this already because you've been checking me out, type it in the chat area. But from the tantric perspective, those 4 bases of mindfulness are circumstance and body and speech and mind. Now, below the heading, you'll notice a painting of a couple comprised of red light, naked except for jewelry and making sweet, sweet love, as Chef would say. Chef would say on South Park, "Sweet love by the fire." They're in a position known as Yabim. They're practicing tantric sex. And from the fundamentalist point of view, that gal is named Red Tara or Raktatare, or Droma Marmu if you prefer Tibetan. And she is a real entity. From the liberal perspective, it doesn't matter if she's real or not, for we view her as an archetype. The Buddha was never a big fan of superstition. Childhood was great to be devoted to one's parents, but too many times adults become frightened or stressed out and turn to real or imagined celestial parents to forgive them and protect them and guide them. And the Buddha felt this was mere grasping and antithetical to his path of letting go. And yet, that tendency to worship real or imagined celestial parents crept into Buddhism. Luckily, the great Buddhist sages found a way to recapture Buddhism from superstition. And it goes like this. Hey, if you're going to believe that there are these godlike Buddhas with blissful paradises and blissful bodies and blissful mantra-like speech and blissful syllable-like minds, then let us explore how those paradises and bodies and mantras and syllables could be comprised of light. And if they were comprised of light, they would be appearing yet non-graspable, and sensual yet non-graspable, and resounding yet non-graspable, and clear yet non-graspable. And so it is, we use these similes in the 4 contemplations that follow. Contemplations based not on faith, but on experience. Let us turn the page. And for those of you playing at home, you just turned to page 121. Now you know why you want to use that app, so you can bookmark. And sadly, table of contents is out of date. I am inundated with brainstorms, and my table of contents work cannot keep up. Someday, I'll have a personal assistant. At the top of the screen, we see the heading reminding us of the topic of this contemplation, which is circumstances and the wisdom of letting go. On the left, we see what I like to describe as contemplative notation, which is rather like musical notation. Now, this is not concentration. There is a myth, popular but widely inaccurate, that the Buddha taught us to concentrate upon our breath. Au contraire. He taught us to be mindful of what goes on without our body and within our body. Our breath is part of that. And he taught us to coordinate our contemplations with our breathing. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we do not try to control our breath or focus upon it. But when we notice our bodies are breathing in of their own accord, we silently and mentally recite this bit of text right here, which is kind of like feeding a script to our inner monologue, to the narrator of our mind. And when we breathe out, we relax as best we can as we whisper the 6-syllable mantra of enlightened activity, not 1 time, not 2 times, but 4 times, as we were taught in the lesson of Naropa's second yoga. And we go into great detail. If you feel insecure about jumping into this mantra, go back and find the video for, I forgot what the number it is, but it's for Naropa's second yoga. And we go in great detail. We're going to be going pretty quick. So give yourself permission to make mistakes. As long as you are relaxing as best you can during each exhalation as you whisper the mantra, you will make progress. So now let us explore the script in greater detail. The script is poor grammar, but effective at speaking the language of our inner mind. Let me check the camera. Oh, I'll skip that. Anyway, let's move on. So we're going to begin without the simile. Lots are circumstances. Lots is a monosyllabic synonym for lot in life or circumstance. Lots, seen yet void. Now this is not an affirmation. This is not something to believe. Clearly, if we have the good fortune to have working eyeballs, we can see our environment. But what do we mean by the word void? Void is a metaphor for non-graspability. And this play of perception and non-graspability is best explained in the following run-on sentence. During our in-breath, as we become mindful of our circumstance could seem permanent and separate and tangible. However, as we relax into our whispered recitation of the mantra, that exact same circumstance could feel less permanent and less separate and less tangible. And as you get better and better at this, it could feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. As an example of a vast, empty void, the infinite azure sky, a bright and beautiful cloudless morning. Now let's interject this simile. So, Tare, she whose mantra we are reciting, is the archetype of enlightened activity. And just as we as individuals have circumstances and bodies and speech and minds, so does she. And the superstitious look at her as a goddess and her circumstance as a paradise, and ooh, they want to go there. And in their grasping for something better, they forget the potentiality that right here and right now are all the paradise we require. If but only we master love and letting go. So, lots like Tade's, seen yet void. So not something to believe, something to be experienced. Having said that, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, we see our tabulatory notation. This just helps us not lose count. We're going to count one set of 4 breaths. We begin by touching the tip of our left thumb to our left little finger's lower set of creases. For each finger has a higher set of creases, and a middle set of creases, and a lower set of creases. We're going to count our 4 repetitions. And just like the gym, you got sets and you got repetitions. We're going to count our repetitions upon our right little finger's lower set of creases, and middle set of creases, and higher set of creases, and tip. And we shall advance the tip of our right thumb during each inhalation. Typically, although since this is a mantra meditation instead of a silent meditation, as we whisper, we will move our thumb over the creases and tips of each finger. So, on the first breath, since we're reciting the mantra 4 times, it'll be like this. Om Let's continue together on our ring finger. Middle finger. Index finger. And we turn the page. And now we consider bodies. All bodies of all beings. Whether they walk or crawl or swim or fly. The Buddha spoke of an eightfold path of enlightenment. The second fold is wishing well to others. The third and fourth and fifth fold are translating that wish into our behavior. It's not enough to wish to be loving, we have to behave in a loving manner. Now, clearly, most of us are not Jeff Bezos. Most of us don't have the money to house and clothe and feed and medicate and educate and employ all humans on the planet. We don't have that money. Can't do it. But there's an easy change we can make to our lifestyle that can reduce the suffering of literally thousands of sentient beings. Thousands of sentient beings that have brain stems just like us and that want only to live and not to die just like we do. And that change is twofold. Number one, we can stop exploiting and murdering and eating other living beings for their meat or eggs or milk or strength or talents or skin or bodily substances. And number two, we can stop paying others to do that for us. And if it sounds like I'm suggesting that it would be spiritually beneficial for each of us to adopt a whole food vegan diet as endorsed by the World Health Organization, then you would be correct. Now, that could sound daunting, but don't worry. In the description area below the video, there's a link to Mike Dearborn's channel. It's called Mike the Vegan, M-I-C the Vegan. And it is a great resource to help you do that. To reduce the suffering that we are responsible for, to reduce the suffering we incur on the planet, and to reduce the suffering of our loved ones who will have to mourn for us prematurely if we continue eating the standard American diet. Now that our vegan beating has concluded, let us continue with our meditation. Come, let us advance the tip of our left thumb to our right, to the middle set of creases upon our left little finger. Forms like tates, felt yet void. Again, we advance the tip of our left thumb up our left little finger to the higher set of creases. Speech like tates, heard yet void. So all beings' speech, my neighbor's speech, all beings, the speech of all beings upon this planet, the speech of all beings, of all worlds, of all galaxies, real or imagined. Speech, the metaphor, that which is the substance of our interrelations. Speech, verbal And particles make it opaque. You can't see anything through it. In time, the water stops moving, the particles fall to the bottom, and you can see through the glass. You can see clearly through the glass. And that is a metaphor for our perceptive nature of mind. Our mind is wired to perceive through our sense organs. At the very least, we can perceive provided we are blessed with or fortunate enough to have a healthy body, we can perceive sensations and feelings and scents and flavors and sights and sounds, as well as mind itself. Mind's emotions and intentions and thoughts and memories and fantasies. All this we can perceive. And that is what we mean by clear. Let's slide the tip of our left thumb up to the tip of our left little finger. Begin counting on our right little finger. Mind's like Tade's, clear yet void. That's all we do every morning and every And this is a grounding experience. For our bodies of flesh, blood, and bone are pretty much locked into the here and the now. Let's continue. Again, we advance the tip of our left thumb up our left ring finger to its middle set of creases. Let's return the page. How relax into the awareness of these feelings of pleasure, pain, and neither pleasure nor pain. But that's wordy, so we just reduce it to pleasure, pain, and neither. So feelings in this context or any sensory experience that we feel, any sensory experience at all, through any part of our body or our emotions. The feeling here is not it's not, the word feeling pertains not to the quality of perception, i.e. sensation or emotion. It refers to the experience of pleasure or pain or neither pleasure or pain. That might take some getting used to, but repetition does wonders. Let's begin. How relax into the awareness of these feelings of pleasure, pain, and neither. We advance our left thumb up our left ring finger until it comes up to the higher set of creases. How relax into the awareness of this appraisal of feelings intensity. So the third aggregate of experience. An aggregate in this context merely means component. Is appraisal. Not only do we notice what we feel, whether it's pleasurable or painful, we notice how intense it is. Whether it's very, very strong or very, very weak. Very, very coarse or very, very subtle. I'm reminded of a kitty cat who will give you a love bite, not breaking skin, not bruising flesh, just gently touching with the teeth, because that's how cats are. What's the difference between a love bite and a cat trying to eat you? Well, it's a question of, you guessed it, intensity. How relax into the awareness of this appraisal of feelings intensity. Awareness is a reference to mindfulness. Relaxing is a reference to the wisdom of letting go. We turn the page, just like the Bob Seger song. We advance the tip of the left thumb up the left ring finger to the tip. How relax into the awareness of this impulse. And I should replace the word this with the phrase venal. Thank goodness for spell check. So our darker impulses, if anyone says they don't have them, that's It's either a commentary upon their honesty or their mindfulness or lack thereof. Every being, enlightened and non-enlightened, every being with a brainstem, is subject to the full spectrum of dark impulses. Welcome to evolutionary biology. So we don't have to hunt for them. They'll make their presence known throughout the day or the week. This is simply a training in mindfulness and letting go. How relax into the awareness of venal impulse. We come to the fifth and final contemplation of this section. And if you are astute, you will have noticed you ran out of left ring finger. But that's okay because the thumb can go up and over the top of the ring finger until it comes to rest upon the higher knuckle. Not the higher crease, but the higher knuckle. You know, like you're going to flick someone's ear or flick a burger. Not that anyone here has ever picked their nose. How relax into the awareness of this awareness, which is delightfully redundant. Not unlike the 1960s song Windmills of My Mind. You can probably find that on YouTube. How relax into the awareness of this awareness. We have done a lot of work. We've done a lot of contemplations. We've done 9 contemplations. If our brain was a dog right now, it would be panting. So let us give our brain a break, not with an additional contemplation, but instead with a meditation. And meditation is Buddha's unique contribution to the world of mental culture. Before the Buddha's time, people were doing a lot of concentrating, which was about compression of experience or about suppression of the perception of thought. The Buddha taught the opposite: freedom and vulnerability. Although his technique is known by many names around the world, Zen, Shan, Sati, Passaddhi, Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, Mahasandhi, Trekcho, and Dzogchen, in English it can be best explained as merely watching the play of mind, relaxing into its release. Let us touch the tip of our left thumb to our left middle finger's lower set of creases. On the in-breath, we're going to work with the pronoun this, which is deliciously vague. We're not focusing on just one thing. Au contraire, whatever we experience, whether it's external or internal, pleasurable or painful, glorious or grotesque, whether it is sensation or flavor or scent or sound or sight, whether it is emotion or intention or thought or memory or imagination, whatever. Cartwheels across the stage of our perception. We do not need to analyze it. We do not need to label it with anything other than the simple pronoun this, which we use during our in-breath. We're now going to count upon our four fingers of our right hand. Notice this. Relaxing, begin with our right little finger. In the Buddha's most concise meditation manual, the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha mentions 7 enlightenment factors. The 5th one is relaxation, and the 6th one is mental release. There is a causal relationship between the two. The more we physically relax, the more we mentally release. Let us continue upon our right ring finger. Our right middle finger. Our right index finger. We're going to conclude with a bit of the old love. Tantra's concise, silent love. We're going to count. We're going to advance the left thumb up the left middle finger to the middle set of creases. Boon is a monosyllabic synonym for good fortune, just as lot is a monosyllabic synonym for lot in life or circumstance. Boon for each lot, void like Tares. Let's count upon the 3 creases and tip of our right little finger. We advance now to our right ring finger, health for each form, void like Tares. Lives have been squandered reciting laundry list laundry lists of wishes to real or imagined celestial beings. Simply wishing others well in harmony with the four bases of mindfulness is as concise as it is far-reaching for all human and inhuman needs. Oh yeah, we're talking full Vulcan. Let us advance now to the third. Let us count upon the three sets of creases and tip of our right middle finger. Peace for all speech, void like Tares. So we're not just talking about communication, verbal and nonverbal. Communication is an instrument of relationships, platonic and otherwise, casual and formal, intense and superficial. May all our interpersonal experiences be peaceful. So we are blending love with the three circles of emptiness. Exploring the non-graspability of the object of our love, other beings, the subject of our love, or I should take it back, well, that's getting too fancy. The recipients of our love, the gift of our love, which is peace, and ourselves who have the love for others, or choose or intend to cultivate the love for others. Of course, love here is not an emotion, but an intention. Let us conclude by counting upon the three sets of creases and tip of our right index finger. Joy for each mind, void like Tares. Now this is a very energizing practice. Great first thing in the morning, not so good right before bed. Now if memory serves correct, that is the end of tonight's lesson. Yep, there it is. As always, if you have any questions, don't be shy. Reach out to me either through a direct message on Instagram or by writing a comment in one of my videos on YouTube or in what's it called? In the next live stream. Ask me then. And I'll do my best to get back to you either in real time or in a blog post or in a video. My friends, if you have found value in these live streams or videos or podcasts or blogs or class materials, numerous and free to download, then please consider supporting this channel with a monthly contribution by using the link in the description area below. If you cannot do this, if you cannot do that at this time, then please support us for free by clicking the subscribe button and the notifications icon in the shape of a bell. If you've already done that, please also click the like button for this particular video and write a comment. These things really help with the algorithm. This is a good time to deal with the myth of the greedy monk. In the Tibetan tradition, neither monks, nor yogis, nor lamas were supported by monasteries. Each must find their own patronage, typically from family, friends, students, and strangers. Those who are unable to do that typically wander as vagabonds. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. That you've received the very good fortune to receive these teachings. Be sure to apply them if you wish to benefit from them. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy.